Chosen one, do you know why it hurts so much? Why the pressure never let up? Why the betrayal came from the ones you trusted most? Why doors closed right when you thought you were finally breaking through? It wasn't random. I was watching. When they underestimated you, I was measuring you. When they tried to break you, I was building you. When you cried in silence, heaven was taking notes. You thought it was punishment. It was preparation. I gave you the hardest exam. Not because I wanted you to fail, but because I knew you wouldn't cheat your calling. Others chose shortcuts. You chose integrity. Others folded under pressure. You prayed through it. They never saw the nights you battled doubt. They never felt the spiritual warfare around your name. But I did, and now the results are in. You passed. Not by luck, not by applause, but by faith. Stay here. You're about to understand why the test had to be this hard. Chosen one. I saw the moment your heart cracked. I saw the message that went unanswered. The door that closed without explanation. The room that went silent when you walked in. You thought you were being pushed out. You thought you weren't enough. You questioned your worth in the dark, when no one heard you cry. But listen to me. That rejection was not your disqualification. It was my redirection. You were trying to stay where you had already outgrown the atmosphere. You were asking to remain in places that could not sustain the destiny I placed inside you. If I had allowed you to stay, you would have shrunk to survive, and I did not create you to shrink. I created you to expand. You call it heartbreak. I call it separation for elevation. They could not celebrate what they did not understand. They could not support what they were not assigned to carry. And instead of letting you tie your future to limited vision, I allowed the discomfort. Yes, it hurt. But pain is often the sound of destiny shifting. When they walked away, you felt abandoned. But what you didn't see was me removing hands that would have slowed you down. You didn't see me closing doors that would have trapped you in cycles beneath your calling. You begged me to fix the relationship, to reopen the opportunity, to make them see your value. But I needed you to see something greater. Your value does not come from their acceptance. You are not chosen because they approve of you. You are chosen because I appointed you. The rejection was proof that your spirit was too large for small rooms. It was evidence that you carry something that disrupts comfort zones. You walked into spaces, and your presence exposed insecurity, comparison, and fear. They rejected you because they felt the shift. But hear me clearly. What feels like loss is strategic alignment. Every no pushed you toward a higher yes. Every closed door rerouted your steps toward the path I marked before you were born. Every tear watered the ground of your next season. You were not meant to be understood by everyone. You were not meant to stay where you were tolerated instead of honored. I allowed the rejection so you would stop settling, because destiny cannot bloom in soil that resents your growth. You thought I was silent, I was positioning. You thought I forgot you. I was protecting you. You thought it was the end. It was the exit ramp to your calling. Chosen one, the heartbreak did not break you. It refined you, it humbled you. It strengthened your dependence on me instead of people. And now you stand stronger, wiser, more discerning. You no longer chase approval. You walk in assignment. The rejection that once made you question everything was the very thing that redirected you into purpose. Trust this. If they walked away, they were not meant to walk into your future. I am leading you somewhere they could never follow. And this time, you will not beg to stay where you were meant to leave. Chosen one. You thought the battles were random. You thought the pressure meant you were weak. You wondered why the attacks were so personal, so relentless, so quiet. But listen to me. The battles you fought in silence were not signs of failure. They were evidence. Hell does not fight what is ordinary. Darkness does not mobilize against what poses no threat. The resistance you felt was recognition. Before you ever understood your calling, the spiritual realm did. That anxiety that tried to choke your confidence. That sudden wave of doubt when you were about to step forward. Those nights you lay awake, fighting thoughts no one else could see. Those moments you smiled in public but broke in private. You thought you were losing your mind. You were actually standing in war. And the fact that you are still here, still believing, still seeking mech, means you did not lose. You survived battles no one applauded you for. You prayed when your voice was shaking. You worshipped when your heart was heavy. You showed up when everything in you wanted to disappear. That was not weakness. That was warfare. There were assignments sent to intimidate you, distractions sent to derail you, voices sent to distort your identity. But you did not surrender your soul. You see, the enemy attacked your confidence because of what your confidence would unlock. He attacked your relationships because of the unity you are destined to build. He attacked your mind because of the wisdom you are meant to carry. He saw the oil before you did. He saw the influence before you believed it. He saw the impact of your obedience. He saw the doors that will open when you fully step into who I called you to be. So he tried to stop you early. He tried to convince you that the struggle was proof you were disqualified. But the struggle was proof you were dangerous to darkness. Those silent tears, they strengthened your spirit. Those lonely seasons, they sharpened your discernment. Those betrayals and misunderstandings, they detached you from dependency on human approval and anchored you in me. You were being trained. Warriors are not formed in comfort. They are shaped in hidden battles. And you, chosen one, have already passed tests that would have crushed others. You didn't even realize how strong you were becoming. Every time you chose integrity over retaliation, every time you chose prayer over panic, every time you chose to trust me when nothing made sense, you advanced. Hell recognized your calling because it felt the shift in the atmosphere when you prayed. It trembled when you refused to give up. It knew that if you endured this season, you would step into authority. That is why the fight was so intense. But hear me clearly. If the battle did not destroy you, it prepared you. You are not under attack because you are weak. You were attacked because you are anointed. And now, you are no longer just surviving the war. You are rising from it, stronger, more aware, more anchored in truth. The same battles that tried to silence you are about to become the testimony that empowers others. Because what hell recognized early, you are finally beginning to see. You are called, chosen one. I know how the silence felt. I know how the room grew empty, how the phone stopped ringing, how invitations slowed down. How even the people who once needed you suddenly disappeared. You called it loneliness. You called it abandonment. You wondered if you had done something wrong. But listen to me. Your isolation was not punishment. It was protection. I pulled you away on purpose. Because where I am taking you cannot be built in noise. It cannot be sustained by constant validation. It cannot grow in crowded rooms filled with opinions. You were not being left behind. You were being set apart. Separation always feels like loss before it reveals itself as elevation. I had to quiet the outside voices so you could finally hear mine clearly. I had to remove the distractions so your discernment could sharpen. I had to disconnect you from certain energies so your spirit could strengthen. You thought you were losing community. You were gaining clarity. In isolation, I showed you who you are without applause, without approval, without comparison. In the quiet, I rebuilt your confidence from the inside out. You see, when you are constantly surrounded by others, it is easy to confuse their expectations with my calling. It is easy to shrink to fit in. It is easy to compromise just to belong. But I did not create you to blend in. I created you to stand out. And elevation requires preparation. While others were distracted, you were developing depth. While others were entertained, you were being equipped. While others were socializing, you were being strengthened spiritually. You cried some nights asking me why it felt like you were walking alone. But you were never alone. I was closer than ever. In the stillness, I was healing wounds you ignored. In the solitude, I was detoxing you from unhealthy attachments. In the waiting, I was aligning you with a higher circle that matches your next level. You could not carry everyone into your future. Some connections were seasonal. Some relationships were comfortable, but not destiny aligned. And I love you too much to let you stay where you would eventually suffocate. Isolation is where identity becomes unshakable. It is where you learn to enjoy your own presence, where you stop chasing validation, where you understand that being chosen sometimes means being different, different thinking, different timing, different path. And yes, it feels lonely at first, but elevation always begins with separation. When an eagle rises, it does not fly in flocks. It ascends alone. Not because it is rejected, but because its altitude is different. Chosen one, the quiet season was not a sign that you were forgotten. It was proof that you are being prepared for rooms that require maturity, strength, and spiritual authority. You were not abandoned. You were upgraded. And now, when I reconnect you with people, it will not be out of desperation. It will be alignment. This season of isolation refined you. It matured you. It made you stronger in places no one could see. And when you step into your elevation, you will understand why you had to walk alone first, chosen one. You asked me why it felt so heavy, why the expectations increased, why the responsibilities multiplied, why just when you caught your breath, another weight was added to your shoulders. You whispered in frustration, "Why is this so hard?" But hear me clearly. The pressure you endured was not meant to crush you. It was training you. Heaven was strengthening you for greater weight. You cannot carry influence without endurance. You cannot hold favor without stability. You cannot steward destiny without capacity. And capacity is built under pressure. Think about it. Steel is forged in fire. Diamonds are formed under crushing force. Strength is developed by resistance. Why would your calling be any different? You felt squeezed from every direction: financial strain, emotional tension, spiritual warfare. Responsibilities that no one else seemed willing to carry. And yet you carried them. There were days you thought you would break, moments you questioned if you were built for this, nights you lay awake, mind racing, heart heavy. But you did not collapse. You adapted, you grew, you stretched. What you thought was too much was actually building muscle in your spirit. If I had given you the blessing before the pressure, it would have overwhelmed you. If I had opened certain doors before you were strengthened, the weight of success would have crushed your peace. So I allowed the training, I allowed the stretching, because I see the future you cannot yet see. I see the responsibility you will carry, the lives that will depend on your obedience, the influence that will rest on your shoulders. You asked for elevation. Elevation requires reinforcement. Pressure reveals cracks, and then it seals them. Pressure exposes weakness, and then it strengthens it. Pressure humbles pride and anchors identity. Under pressure, you learned discipline. You learned patience. You learned how to pray when nothing changed immediately. You became less reactive, more discerning, more resilient. The same situations that once would have broken you now only bend you. That is growth. Chosen one, I would never place a crown on a head that cannot handle its weight. So I tested your endurance. I allowed storms to see if your foundation was stable. I allowed delays to build your patience. I allowed challenges to mature your faith, not to harm you, but to prepare you. The pressure was proof that something valuable is inside you. Empty vessels do not experience resistance. It is the ones carrying treasure that are guarded, tested, and refined. And now look at you, stronger than you were last year, wiser than you were in your last season, more grounded, more self-aware. You survived what you once feared, and this is only the beginning. The weight that once felt unbearable is now something you carry with quiet confidence, because heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was reinforcing you. And when the greater responsibility comes, when the platform expands, when the doors open wider than you imagined, you will not crumble, you will stand steady, because the pressure already built the strength, and you are ready to carry what is coming. Chosen one, I saw the betrayal before it happened. I saw the smile that hid insecurity, the promise that carried hidden conditions, the loyalty that shifted when your light began to shine brighter. And when it happened, when the trust shattered, when the secret was shared, when the support quietly turned into competition, you felt the sting deep in your chest. You questioned your discernment. You replayed conversations in your mind. You wondered how someone so close could turn so cold. But listen to me carefully. Every betrayal was revelation. It was not sent to destroy you. It was sent to expose who could not travel where I am taking you. Some people are assigned to your comfort. Others are assigned to your calling. Not everyone can handle both. As long as you were small, they felt safe. As long as you doubted yourself, they felt superior. As long as you blended in, they felt comfortable. But the moment you began to grow, the moment your confidence matured, the moment your vision expanded, their insecurity surfaced. Betrayal is often the reaction to elevation. You thought they loved you unconditionally, but their love was attached to the version of you that made them feel secure. And when you started stepping into purpose, their hidden envy could no longer stay hidden. So I allowed the betrayal, not because I wanted you wounded, but because I wanted you aware. If they had stayed close, they would have slowed you down. If they had remained in your inner circle, they would have sabotaged your peace. If I had kept them in your life, their loyalty would have cracked under the pressure of your next level. You cannot carry destiny and disloyalty at the same time. The pain opened your eyes. It sharpened your discernment. It taught you to value character over charm. And yes, it hurt deeply. You grieved the version of them you believed in. You mourned the friendship, the partnership, the bond you thought was unbreakable. But what you lost in illusion, you gained in clarity. Chosen one, not everyone is meant to see your promised land. Some people are only present for the wilderness. Some walk with you in preparation, but cannot enter manifestation. Their betrayal was not a surprise to me. It was a filter. It removed those who would have celebrated your fall instead of your rise. It detached you from ties that were rooted in convenience rather than covenant. You thought you were losing people. You were actually shedding weight. And elevation requires lightness. Imagine carrying disloyal hearts into rooms filled with favor. Imagine exposing your destiny to those who secretly resent it. I protected you through exposure. The betrayal showed you who they were before your breakthrough, made the consequences greater. And now, you move differently. Not bitter, but wiser. Not closed, but discerning. You no longer confuse proximity with loyalty. You no longer mistake familiarity for alignment. Every betrayal was a redirection. Because where I am taking you requires unity, integrity, and strength. And anyone who could not handle your growth was never meant to handle your glory. Let them go. They were part of the lesson, not the legacy. Chosen one. You felt it, didn't you? The tension in the atmosphere when you walked into certain rooms. The sudden opposition when you made a decision to grow. The strange resistance that showed up the moment you committed to becoming better. You thought it was coincidence. You wondered if you were imagining it. You asked yourself, why does it feel like something is always pushing against me? But hear me. The spiritual warfare around you was confirmation. Oil attracts opposition. The anointing on your life carries weight in the unseen realm. Before people recognized it, the spirit world did. Before you understood your assignment, darkness sensed it. You carry influence that shifts atmospheres. You carry authority that disrupts chaos. You carry light that exposes hidden things. And light always provokes reaction. You noticed how distractions intensified when you got serious about your growth. How temptation appeared at the edge of breakthrough. How misunderstandings multiplied when you tried to bring peace. That was not random. There are assignments attached to your name. There are lives connected to your obedience. There are doors that will open because you chose to endure. And because of that, resistance tried to intimidate you early. You felt attacked in your mind, your confidence shaken without warning, negative thoughts whispering lies that did not even sound like your voice. You felt drained for no clear reason, opposed for no clear cause. But understand this, empty vessels do not face spiritual warfare. The pressure around you was proof that something valuable rests upon you. The oil is not for decoration, it is for purpose. Oil signifies calling, responsibility, influence, leadership, and leadership attracts testing. You were not attacked because you are weak. You were attacked because you are marked. Marked for impact, marked for transformation. Marked to break cycles that others accepted. The warfare tried to make you question your identity, to shrink your vision, to silence your voice. But instead of retreating, you endured. You prayed when you felt overwhelmed. You stood when you felt outnumbered. You chose integrity when compromise seemed easier. That is strength. The enemy hoped the intensity would scare you back into comfort, but it only sharpened your awareness. Now you discern faster. You protect your energy. You guard your peace. You are no longer surprised by resistance. You recognize it. Chosen one. The oil on your life cannot be removed by opposition. It can only be refined. The warfare revealed your resilience. It strengthened your spiritual muscles. It deepened your dependence on me. And now, what once intimidated you no longer controls you. The same presence that stirred warfare is the same presence that will draw favor. Because the oil is still flowing, and the battles you survived are proof that you are built to carry it. Do not fear the resistance. It is confirmation. You are anointed, and nothing sent against you can cancel what I have already placed upon you. Chosen one. You remember the moment you thought it was over. The collapse you didn't see coming. The loss that knocked the wind out of you. The failure that whispered, "This is the end." You felt surrounded, outnumbered, overwhelmed. You asked me why I allowed it, why the attack was so precise, why it targeted the very area you cared about most, why it seemed designed to break you beyond repair. But listen closely. What tried to destroy you was never sent to finish you. It was sent to forge you. The setback was a setup. The collapse was construction in disguise. The breaking was building. You thought you were being buried. You were being planted. Seeds must go underground before they rise. That betrayal, it taught you discernment. That financial strain, it taught you discipline and strategy. That heartbreak, it deepened your compassion. That public embarrassment, it humbled your ego and anchored your character. What felt like destruction was development. You see, breakthrough is not just about doors opening. It is about becoming the kind of person who can walk through them without self-sabotage. If I had skipped the breaking, the blessing would have exposed weaknesses you were not ready to confront. So I allowed the fire, not to consume you, but to purify you. Gold does not fear the furnace. It proves its value there. You were in a refining season. Everything unstable had to shake. Everything false had to fall. Everything borrowed had to be stripped away, so that when you rise authentic. There were nights you cried in exhaustion, moments you questioned your worth, days you considered giving up quietly. But even in your weakest hour, you did not surrender your spirit. That is why you are still standing. The enemy miscalculated your resilience. He thought the pressure would shatter you. He believed the disappointment would define you. But you adapted. You learned to bend without breaking, to pray when you wanted to panic, to move forward even when clarity was missing. That is preparation. Breakthrough is not a moment. It is a transformation. And the version of you that is emerging from this storm is stronger, wiser, and more grounded than the one who entered it. You now value peace more than popularity, purpose more than comfort, growth more than applause. The attack revealed your strength. The loss revealed your endurance. The pain revealed your depth. And now, what once threatened to end you has become your testimony. You no longer fear storms the same way, because you know something now. If it didn't destroy you, it equipped you. Chosen one, the breakthrough you are approaching could never have been handled by your old mindset. The breaking expanded your capacity. The struggle stretched your faith. The darkness sharpened your light. And soon, when the doors open, you will not just celebrate the blessing. You will understand the battle. Because what tried to destroy you was actually preparing you to rise beyond what you ever imagined. Chosen one, there were moments you should not have survived. Decisions that could have destroyed you. Environments that could have swallowed you whole. Attacks that should have taken you out completely. But you are still here. And that is not luck. That is protection. There were things I blocked that you never saw. Conversations I silenced before they reached you. Traps you walked past without realizing how close they were. You thought you were just getting through. You were being guarded. While you were worrying, I was working. While you were confused, I was covering. While you were doubting, I was defending. You have been preserved for something greater than this moment. There were seasons where you felt delayed, opportunities that slipped through your fingers, plans that fell apart right when they seemed perfect. You thought it was bad timing. It was divine timing. I preserved you from stepping into rooms that would have drained you. I preserved you from partnerships that would have distracted you. I preserved you from success that would have arrived before your character was ready. Because purpose is too sacred to rush. You were not overlooked, you were being positioned. Positioning often feels like stagnation, like nothing is moving, like everyone else is advancing while you stand still. But what you could not see was alignment happening behind the scenes. People being moved, circumstances shifting, doors being prepared that require your exact experience. Every trial added depth to your story. Every setback strengthened your foundation. Every delay refined your patience. You were being shaped to fit a purpose that cannot be cancelled by human opinion. They tried to discredit you. They underestimated you. Some even attempted to block your progress. But what I ordain cannot be undone by sabotage. You are not standing because people were kind. You are standing because I was intentional, protected from what would have broken you too soon, preserved from what would have corrupted your focus, positioned exactly where you need to be for the next chapter. Even your mistakes did not disqualify you. I redirected them. Even your detours served development. I wove them into your story. Chosen one, your life is not random. It is orchestrated. The reason you feel a pull towards something greater is because something greater is already assigned to you. No one can cancel what I have called forth. No jealousy can erase it. No rejection can block it. No delay can deny it. You are not behind. You are aligned. And when the moment arrives, when the opportunity fits perfectly, when the door opens with peace instead of pressure, you will realize something powerful. Everything you survived was evidence. Evidence that you are covered. Evidence that you are chosen. Evidence that you are walking toward a purpose no one can revoke. You were not merely surviving. You were being safeguarded for destiny. And now, it is time to step forward knowing you have been protected, preserved, and positioned for something unstoppable. Listen to me, chosen one. Do you feel that? That shift happening in your spirit right now? That strange warmth in your chest as the truth starts to settle inside you? Because this is the moment you begin to understand. Your pain was not random. I did not watch you suffer without purpose. I did not allow the nights you cried yourself to sleep, just to forget you in the morning. I did not watch you fight battles in silence just to leave you without reward. No, I was preparing you. Every tear was strengthening something inside you that comfort could never build. Every rejection was removing people who would have stood in the way of your destiny. Every disappointment was recalibrating your direction toward what I had already planned for you. You thought you were being broken, but I was expanding you, like stretching a vessel so it can hold more. Like building endurance into your spirit, so you could carry weight you have not yet seen. Like training your heart to remain faithful when success finally arrives. You were being prepared for responsibility, not comfort. You were being trained to walk into rooms where your presence would shift atmospheres. Rooms where your voice would matter. Rooms where your story would give hope to people who feel exactly how you once felt. And you survived things that were designed to make you quit. There were moments when you were one decision away from walking away from your calling. One heartbreak away from closing your heart. One failure away from believing you were not chosen. But I was there. You did not see me, but I was redirecting circumstances. Protecting you from people who smiled but carried hidden intentions. Blocking opportunities that looked good, but would have delayed your destiny. Shielding you from success that would have destroyed your peace too early. Unseen protection was working while you were fighting visible pain. You thought you were alone in the darkness, but I was teaching your spirit how to recognize light even when you could not see it. And now, listen closely. You are stepping into activation, not because life suddenly became easy, but because you became strong enough to carry what is coming. The pain built spiritual muscle, the loneliness built identity, the warfare built authority, the waiting built wisdom. And now destiny is beginning to recognize you. Doors will open that feel strangely peaceful. Opportunities will find you instead of you chasing them. People will start seeing something in you they cannot explain. That is activation. You are not walking into your future weak from your past. You are walking in stronger because of it. So hold your head higher, chosen one. Your pain had purpose. Your struggle had strategy. Your survival was preparation for glory you have not yet fully seen. And what I have planned for you is just beginning. Chosen one, look at you. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still believing even after everything tried to convince you to stop. That was not coincidence. That was victory quietly forming inside your spirit. I never left you. Not in the rejection, not in the loneliness, not in the nights you thought I was silent. I was there, holding every tear you never showed anyone. I was there when you kept going even when you felt empty. Now stand up in your spirit, not in fear, but in authority, not in shame, but in destiny. What was meant to break you has only made you stronger. Your future is not written in defeat, it is sealed in purpose. Walk forward knowing I have already gone ahead of you. The doors are opening. The promise is still alive. Rise, chosen one. Your time is coming, and you will win.